There's DNA all over the place. Everything has DNA, it seems. Well, yeah, everything living does have DNA. So let's talk a little bit about that DNA. Howdy, I'm Andy Lee with Family History Fanatics, and this is an episode of a segment of DNA. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 different types of DNA. Now, the first type of DNA is called autosomal DNA. Now, in humans, we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and chromosomes 1 through 22 are our autosomal chromosomes. And these are passed down from our parents to us. And we get 1 copy from each parent, and they got 1 copy from each of their parents. But as that is passed down with autosomal DNA, it recombines, or in other words, it shuffles between the two. So for instance, I get a set of chromosomes from my dad, but that's not an exact copy of my dad's chromosomes. It's actually a mixture of my grandmother and my grandfather's chromosome. And that process is called recombination. Now, the great thing from a genealogy standpoint about autosomal DNA is that you're getting it from your entire spectrum of people that you're related to. And so you can be able to match with your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, and on out to about your 5th or 6th cousins. This is really good because it broadens the amount of people that you can match to with DNA. Now, the second type of DNA is Y DNA, and this is DNA that only males have. It's our Y chromosome. The Y chromosome is one of the 2 sex chromosomes, which is chromosome number 23. Now, Y DNA is passed on from father to son. The nice thing about this is because there is no other chromosome that it recombines with, it's passed on essentially identical. So my father has the same Y DNA that I have, which is the same as my grandfather. It's the same as all of my brothers. And my sons also have that same Y DNA. So you can see from a genealogical standpoint, with just that Y DNA, we can trace several relatives all together because we all share that same piece of DNA in common. Now, females, while they may not have a Y chromosome, they can still be able to use Y DNA to help trace their ancestry. But what they need is they need either a brother or their father, or even a cousin or an uncle that's all related to that male line that their father's related to get that same Y DNA. And then it's going to be the same. They have a copy of that Y DNA, and they can trace it to the other people who also have that same Y DNA. Now, the third type of DNA is X DNA, and this is the other of the 2 sex chromosomes on chromosome number 23. Males have an X and a Y chromosome, and females have 2 X chromosomes. Because of this, how that is transmitted to different people varies. For instance, with females, since they have 2 X chromosomes, those X chromosomes recombine before they're passed on to their children, just like their autosomal DNA. For men, since they only have 1 X chromosome, they'll pass that X chromosome on to their daughters, but not their sons, essentially identical to what they have. So there's a little bit of the autosomal DNA in X chromosome, and there's a little bit of the Y DNA in X chromosomes and how it's passed on to other people. Now, because of this, you have that definite link with the Y chromosome that you can trace from father to son to son to son. With the X DNA, with your X chromosome, you can do a little bit of that, but it is not going to be as reliable, and it's not going to go back as many generations because it's almost always being recombined with another X chromosome for every generation of women that you have. Now, the fourth type of DNA is called mitochondrial DNA. Now, unlike the first 3 types of DNA, mitochondrial DNA is not found in the nucleus of the cells. Mitochondrial DNA is in the mitochondria, which is a separate part of the cell. Because of this, mitochondrial DNA is passed on from mothers to their children. So in other words, your father's mitochondrial DNA is not passed on to you no matter what. And whether you're a boy or a girl, you're getting that mitochondrial DNA from your mother. So because of this, this acts a lot like the Y DNA. in that it is unchanged from each generation from recombination that you have with autosomal DNA. So, like the Y DNA, you could use mitochondrial DNA to trace back your lineage through your mother's mother, and on up the maternal line. However, with Y DNA, usually we have a surname that stays the same for all of those generations that we can help to use to find our ancestors. With mitochondrial DNA, at least in the Western tradition, the surname usually follows the paternal line. And so each generation you're going to have a different surname, and so surnames don't help you to link with your mitochondrial DNA. With those 4 types of DNA, we can find ancestors in various ways. So if you have any questions about how you can use any of these types of DNA to find ancestors, put it in the comments below and we'll try to answer it for you. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up so that it can reach more viewers. Don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss another episode of Family History Fanatics.